Ashley Jett is suing her ex-boyfriend for unpaid rent, cell phone bills, and car repairs. Ashley says she realized the defendant was a liar when she found out he was borrowing her car to visit his ex-girlfriend. Emmanuel Abril is countersuing because he says the plaintiff has been harassing him and his current girlfriend since he broke up with her.
Ashley Jett is suing Emmanuel Abril, her ex-boyfriend, for unpaid rent, unpaid cell phone bills, and car repairs. And the defendant is countersuing his ex-girlfriend for harassment. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, Ashley, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I met Emmanuel Abril in March 2008 through a friend. He seemed to be a great guy, wonderful. He had a good job at a hospital. I later found out he was a big liar. He was only working at the hospital for a few weeks prior to us meeting. He told me he was working there for 3 years. He also lied. He took my car to go look for a job when in reality he was going to see his ex. He was taking my car to his ex's house.
Well, that stings, huh?
Yeah.
How long did you date the defendant?
4 months.
Okay.
We didn't have any problems until the end when he just took off, Your Honor, and he left me with all kinds of bills. In May 2008, he began having car trouble, and he asked me to borrow $190 for the car repairs.
All right, so if he needed $190 and he had a job, why'd you loan him $190?
Because he hadn't got paid yet.
Okay.
And he needed to borrow.
And what was the conversation that you had with the defendant about the $190?
It was a loan. He was to pay me back. And I have the receipt right here.
Okay. Do you specifically have a recollection that he was borrowing the money and that he was to pay you back?
Yes.
Thank you, Jeanine.
He told me several times, I will pay you back.
Did you agree to pay her back?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. Takes care of that. What's your next claim?
Later, in that same month in May, he was talking about how he needed a new cell phone and it would save us money if we got on the same cell phone plan. He assured me he would pay half of the bill every month and he would pay the termination fee if something ever happened.
Had he paid you any money on the $190?
No.
All right, tell me about the cell phone, Emmanuel.
I met Ashley. I met her a couple years ago, actually. Her best friend's dating my cousin. A couple months ago, I had problems with my son's mom. We kind of split up, a break. Through that break, that's where I ran into Ashley again at one of our family reunions. After that led on to a relationship.
Did you have feelings for her? I mean, were you two?
She knew my feelings for her weren't all there, you know. I didn't have to hang around with, but something serious, no, I wasn't. She would tell me all the time, I feel like you don't like me. Well,
she would say, I feel like you don't like me?
She would tell me
Well, she was pretty smart because you just said you really didn't have feelings for her.
I guess I just, we were both on the rebound. That's what it was.
Let me say something to you, just kind of as an aside. I think that if you're really working on a relationship where it isn't like the thunderbolt, where it's like, oh God, this is the person, go back to the old lady and try to work it out with her.
Your Honor, that I had no idea he didn't have feelings for me like that. I wouldn't have done all of this if not.
All right, so then let's move on. All right, now why the cell phone?
Why did I get the cell phone?
Yeah, why are you putting him on your plan?
We were talking on the cell phone quite often, using a lot of minutes.
I had my own cell phone at the time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had my own cell phone.
So then what's going on here?
No.
Why is she suing you for a cell phone?
I had a plan where I had unlimited minutes, and she didn't have that on her plan. So it would take minutes off her phone to talk to me,
So why is she suing you for unpaid cell phone
it would
bills?
be, she got me a phone, and I only had that phone for like a month.
I don't care. She got you a phone, period.
I paid
Stop
for it.
there.
I paid for it.
Pause.
I paid for the month I used it for.
He told me that his cell phone plan was ending and he needed help getting a phone because he had bad credit.
Do you have any kind of agreement with him that he's going to pay you for the monthly cost of this phone?
No, it's all verbal.
And when you say that he agreed ahead of time to termination fees in the event you had to cancel, why would you even enter into that discussion?
In the store, because I told him, I don't want to do this. I don't normally do this for people. And he's like, I promise you, if anything ever happens, I will pay you the
So is she lying when
fee.
she says you're basically begging her to get a phone?
I was not begging her. It was
Is
nothing.
she lying right now?
Yeah, it was nothing. I didn't beg you. Come on. I didn't do that for the store.
But if you had a phone, why is she going out on a limb to get you a phone if you had a phone with unlimited minutes?
It would work out the minutes. We were talking often on the phone.
I got trouble with that too. Okay. Now, what about the unpaid rent?
Okay, in June 2008, we moved out together into an apartment with another couple and their daughter. And he was using my car. I lent him my car to go find a new job. I later found out that he was taking my car to his ex's house. He ended up finding a job.
Your Honor, it was nothing like that.
Yes, it was.
How old are you, Ashley?
23.
Is this your first relationship?
No.
The guy owes you money for the phone. He owes you money for the car. You move into an apartment together, and he doesn't have a job, and his car's broken down. Why are you moving into an apartment with him? Can't you sense what's coming? What were the arrangements, Emmanuel, for you to move into that apartment?
It was $300 each. That was the only arrangement that was.
Did you agree to that?
Which I paid. I was only there for a month, and I paid that $300.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I said, what were the arrangements? What did you agree to?
I didn't really agree to anything. I agreed to pay the $300. That's it.
So you're moving into a place with your clothes and your toothbrush and your shampoo and your deodorant and your socks and your underwear to stay for a month so you can then move out again?
Well, throughout that month, I worked things out with my son's mom.
Oh,
That's
but
what
you
happened.
didn't know that was going to work out that month.
I didn't know it was going to.
So then when you agreed to move into the apartment, you didn't know how long you were going to stay.
Exactly.
Now, you go back to your ex. And now Ashley is suing you for how much in rent, Ashley?
For $625 in rent.
Okay, and how do you break that down?
$312.50 for July and $312.50 for August, because when he came to pick up his stuff, he promised to not leave me stranded for the last month and that he would pay that as well.
Let me ask you a question, Ashley. With all this, did you get that in writing?
No.
What do you do, Ashley?
I work in accounts receivable.
All right, now, Emmanuel, do you think you owe her money?
Just the car. I did pay the rent. I was a month I was there for that rent. I did pay her that.
All right, there was no lease of any sort?
Your Honor, I have a lease right here. He didn't sign the lease.
I was never on the lease.
He's not on the lease because he said his credit was too bad. And then I have checks
But
that were
their
written
credit
for
was
rent.
bad. That's like.
Then I also have a statement from a roommate.
Thank you, Jimmy. All right, now, Ashley Lynn. Yeah, he's not on the lease.
Your Honor, I have something else that shows he was living and using our address as his house,
Okay,
his
let's
residence.
look at it. Ashley, here's the thing. He's not on the lease. That doesn't mean that he's absolved of any responsibility in paying rent. But if he's not on the lease, then you have to prove to me, number one, that he lived there, number two, that you had an agreement, and number three, that there was an expected amount of time that he was to live there. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if he were on the lease, just putting his name on the lease doesn't mean anything. But hold on a second, Emmanuel. All right, so you had your bill sent to this place.
As his pay stub.
My pay stub, yeah, for that month I was living there, yeah.
He used the address.
I'm not gonna deny that.
Yeah. Come on. Now, you never expected to stay in this apartment and pay for the lease.
I never expected to work things out with my son's mom.
All right, now you're suing her for $1,000. Why?
Well, when that happened, when she knew I was working things out with my son's mom, she knew I told her all this from the beginning.
Oh.
You know what? I have a son. We just split up a couple of weeks ago. I'm not over her. So out of all this, everything happened. I worked things out with my son's mom. We got back with her. I left the house. And after that, she started calling my son's mom, harassing her on the phone.
What did she say to her?
She would talk to her. She would just call and say, you know what, I need my money. You got to give me my money. If you can't get it, you get it, you know? Mm-hmm. And after that, I did agree to pay her. I couldn't pay her the full amount. I can give you payments. She didn't like that. She would call my work. And she would call my work. She would harass me at work. She would walk into my work. My boss.
So why didn't you call the police? Say she's harassing you.
Yes, I was.
I didn't want to do that.
Okay. All right. Now, what do you want to say, Ashley? Final.
That is not true. He told me he was taking his ex to court for custody of his son and that he was going to bring his son to our apartment.
Do you still have feelings for him? Is that what's going on?
No, I don't have feelings for him. I just want my money back. That's all I want.
All right.
I do have a statement of when my coworker went with me into his work.
Okay.
She wrote a
Well, as
statement.
far as I'm concerned, it's not harassment for you to call somebody up and, say I want my money. I mean, if it gets out of control, then it is, and he can have you arrested for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got to make sure that you're covered so that you don't have to harass somebody. For someone who works in accounts payable or accounts receivable, you should know that you get a statement, an assigned statement, and you don't go from the car loan to the cell phone to the apartment, keep giving this guy when he's not giving you anything back. I heard Emmanuel tell Ashley you'd have the money for her at 3, and you told me you had the money. Her temperament is not that she's out of control. And unless your girlfriend is here to tell me how bad it was, I'm dismissing your countersuit. I mean, just leave him alone now, all right? And did you learn your lesson?
Yes, I did.
All right, so unless it's a thunderbolt, don't bother with the guy. All right, so the issue is whether you're liable to her for the unpaid rent, for the cell phone, as well as for the repair to the car. Now, if she allows you to move in with her without an agreement that you pay anything, then you don't have to pay a thing, and it's a gift. If she gives you a cell phone and you don't have any agreement, you don't agree to pay her back, it's a gift. If she gives you money to repair the car so you can come and visit her, it's a gift, and you don't owe her anything, okay, if she loans you the money. However, if she establishes and meets her burden of proof that she made expenditures for you and on your behalf with the agreement that you would pay her back, then you have to pay her back. As far as this court is concerned, number one, the car payment of $190 is definitely owed to the plaintiff by you. Number two, the cell phone bills of $377 are payable to the plaintiff by you. Now, with respect to the rent, she's seeking 3 months or 2 months of $312. As far as I'm concerned, she's not entitled to 3 months, okay? I think that you moved in for a month. I don't think you've been totally honest with me, so I'm just going to charge you for an additional 1 month for her to try to make arrangements to replace your being a tenant there. So as far as I'm concerned, the total comes to $879.50. All right, and do yourself a favor. Stop playing on women to get money from them. Verdict for the plaintiff.